Well, hello, KAED, and welcome to the very first KAED Netcast. Now, over the last couple of days, we've had a handful of questions, most of which are, Matt, what is a netcast? Well, to be honest, it's a word that we thought we invented, but turns out we probably didn't. But at the heart of these netcasts are one-on-one interview-style sessions with KAED members so that we can get to know each other a little bit better and remain connected and networked through certainly unusual times. You know, at KAED, not unlike our members all across the state, we've had to make some serious shifts through this situation. We've had to postpone and cancel some events. And through those cancellations or postponements, we've lost a very elemental aspect of KAED or any association, and that's our networking. And we certainly know that there's power in convergence of KAED, and these netcasts are designed to bring us a little closer together to discuss the best practices, the innovation that exists throughout the state, and talk to the great people, learn about the great organizations, learn about the great communities that make this Commonwealth special and successful. So we hope that you enjoy these netcasts, and we're happy today to welcome a very special guest, Miss Brittaney Johnson, the President and CEO of the Greater Owensboro Economic Development Corporation. So now Brittaney is guest number one. She's a test pilot along with myself, and we're happy to welcome her in a few minutes, and we're happy to welcome you to the KAED Netcast series. Thank you, Kentucky. So welcome back. We're happy to have you on Netcast number one, and you see we have Miss Brittaney Johnson with us here today. So Brittaney, I've already told the audience that you and I are test pilots here together. This is Netcast number one, so we really just thank you for being here. And how are you doing today, and have you ever heard the word netcast before?
No, I had not heard the word netcast until this experience, so this is exciting. Thank you for asking me to be a part of this, and I'm excited and more than happy to be the pilot here with you. And today is going just fine. It's kind of a cloudy, rainy day, but it's going fine, and I apologize in advance if we're interrupted by a 7- and a 5-year-old because I am still at home with them.
Well, we hope maybe they make an appearance.
Yeah.
Zoom calls kind of fun. So let's just dive right in. I think most people, well, a lot of people know you across KAED already, but I know you are relatively new to our KAED family, just like me. I think I'm going on three years here. So why don't you say hello and tell us a little bit about Brittaney. And also,
yes,
what led you to economic development too, Brittaney?
Okay, sure, of course. So I am still a newbie, but you know, I've created great relationships in Kentucky, so it feels like I've known some of you for quite some time. But I have been in Owensboro for almost 18 months. Came right at the end of December of 2018. And have really all of last year, all of 2019, spent networking throughout the state. And I know we're going to talk about Kentucky United in a little bit, but was very fortunate through Kentucky United to meet a lot of good people, a lot of economic development professionals, and you know, I really enjoy continuing to build relationships throughout the state of Kentucky. But how I got into economic development, I'm from a very small town in southwestern Indiana, Posey County, Indiana, the very tip of Indiana, west of Evansville. And I led the Chamber of Commerce in that community starting in 2012. And the position opened up for economic development. I worked alongside that organization. We shared an office together. We were both one-man shows, and worked alongside the economic development organization over there for right around 5 years. And when that position opened up, decided that was the next step for me, and had done some basic economic development courses with my time with the chamber, and then took on that role, went through the University of Oklahoma's Economic Development Institute pretty quickly within a year, and really enjoyed economic development, especially in my hometown in the Southwest Indiana region. Really never, it wasn't on my radar to move out of Southwest Indiana, let alone Indiana altogether. But when the Owensboro position came available, I felt like it was a great step, a great community. Obviously have done pretty progressive things and have pretty progressive initiatives. And so it's still very close to home. We're about 65 miles from our hometown. Honestly, my husband still is commuting and working in our hometown. So it's still very close, and still get to see our families quite a bit. But yeah, so that's really how I got into economic development, and have really enjoyed my time here in Kentucky and obviously in Owensboro.
Yeah, it's been great to work with you, and I think on another note, it's also great to convert a Hoosier to the other side, the good side of the river. So we're certainly happy to have you in Kentucky, and like you said, you know, you've been with your organization for a short time, but you've made just a massive impact. So talk to us a little bit about your EDO and what you've been up to.
Sure. So, you know, this past year, it's been pretty exciting. I've had the opportunity to really rebuild some marketing efforts. I have a fantastic team. Sydney Riney is our business office and communications manager. She's been with the organization a little over 2 years. She's an Owensboro native, graduated from Western Kentucky. Elizabeth Griffith is, I was fortunate enough to hire Elizabeth. Today's actually her 1-year anniversary. I talked to her earlier, and I forgot to congratulate her on 1 year, but so she was the first hire, you know, since after I took the position, but she's our business retention and expansion manager. Becky McCubbins had been with the organization for 24 years, and several of you throughout the state of Kentucky know Becky, and still talk to her frequently. She retired in December. So that is a void in our organization that, you know, we are definitely missing, and we're going to be posting that job. We were going to post it at the end of December, or March, I'm sorry, the end of March, but with everything, current conditions, we're holding off on that for a bit, but we will be posting that. It'll be focusing on our entrepreneurship efforts. But over the course of the last year, we've really changed our marketing efforts a bit, built relationships, obviously, with the Cabinet for Economic Development and throughout the state. I've been fortunate enough to obviously travel with Kentucky United, and then we are working with a lead generation company as well out of Dallas, Texas. So that's been very exciting and very exciting to tell our story. I've also met with several site consultants elsewhere on our own, and been able to share the message of the Western Kentucky region. So really exciting things. We're actually, Friday is our first strategic planning committee. We are embarking on a new strategic plan, so perfect timing right now as well. And so really excited to be a part of that, and really kind of drill down on what our focus is for the next 3 to 5 years, and what our purpose is, and then, you know, set our goals and be disciplined in achieving those goals.
Yeah, it's been really cool to watch you come in, and just the energy and the passion, and some of the reimagining that you've done. And I've just really appreciated the opportunity to get to work with you, and to get to work through you with some partners there locally. You've just got such a great team on the ground, and such a great support, collaborative network. And we'll talk about marketing here in a little bit, but I think one thing that is fantastic about your organization is that you have a dedicated formalized program and a dedicated person towards business retention and expansion. So could you talk a little bit about the importance of that, and a little bit about your BRNE program?
Sure. So like I mentioned, Elizabeth has been on board with us for about a year, and I mentioned Sydney is an Owensboro native, and Elizabeth is as well, and very connected in the community. And so for me, I really appreciated that, as I think that's very important, you know, part on our team. Business retention and expansion efforts, as everyone knows, you know, about 80% of our growth comes from our existing businesses. So very important. The position had been vacant for several months before I came on board, and So we have really had the opportunity to build it how we wanted, and the flexibility with that, which has been exciting. But we've created a template that Elizabeth, she doesn't read from it, but she has it pretty much memorized, with a set list of questions that she takes out to visit, the businesses. She holds quarterly plant manager roundtables. We call them biz buzzes. So what we had heard, some feedback we had received was, our businesses wanted just a very laid back atmosphere. So we do those at 4 or 4:30 on a Thursday evening, appetizers, and then drinks. So, BizBuzz has a couple meanings there, but she's done a great job with that. And really, those benefit us because we are able to receive feedback, have very open conversations about our community and, barriers and challenges, because with every challenge, there's obviously opportunities. But then also with those we found, and Elizabeth has some great stories to tell about this, but our plant managers or representatives have been able to network with each other and learn from each other. And, especially during these current times, and I'll share a little bit about some of her thoughts and some things that she's done, in the last couple months, but, they want to know what each other are doing. And so that those relationships are very important. She also she also holds quarterly plant tours. So she invites our elected officials and stakeholders to those plant tours, and really just as a way to, one, show community members what is happening in our community, but then also to thank those representatives for investing and continuing to invest and being a large part of our community. We feel is very important. So those are a couple things that we're doing. I'll wait. I think we're going to talk about, some of the recovery efforts that, we are undertaking and, here in Owensboro to recover from COVID-19 effects. And so I'll talk about, some innovative ideas that she's had and things that we're implementing here in a bit.
Yeah, I think we know, especially the audience watching this, how critical BR&E is to economic development in normal times. And now more than ever, we understand that we have to be ready with qualified, encompassing strategy around BR&E. So that's why you've seen KAED with a lot of extra attention and a lot of extra content going out around that topic, because not only do we want to make sure that we're disseminating what we need to get into the hands of our members, but we want to make sure that there is ownership of BR&E responsibility with a qualified strategy in every pocket of Kentucky. So I say that because I wonder, knowing that you do this well, what your advice would be to a community who may be paying extra attention to BR&E right now and who may be looking to stand up or launch a program, maybe even for the first time. So what's just one or two first steps that they need to be thinking about?
Sure. So, I think definitely if you create a template, some type of a template, or you could call it a script, where you're asking those same questions to each company, so you can create that baseline. And we use Salesforce as a database. And so, Elizabeth, as she goes out every 6 months or every year, or as I'm meeting with companies as well, we can go in and look and really have our baseline and see for future growth, or where opportunities lie. For example, a question that we always ask is, if we can attract any company, no questions asked, that would benefit you as an employer, what would that be? And, that catches some people off guard, but, we want to make sure that we're definitely taking care of our existing employers first, and business attraction is very important, but, we need to make sure that we're taking care of our existing employers. So I think definitely some type of a script or template where you can record kind of your baseline conversations, and then you have something to gauge every 6 months or every year after that. But then also, make sure that they're appreciated, and talk about the challenges. Like I mentioned, the challenges are definitely opportunities, and you have to have those hard conversations. And whether it's energy costs or incentives or whatever it might be, barriers to growth, I think is very important. And sometimes those are hard conversations, but they're important to have.
Right, right. Well, and at KAED, I throw the word family around a lot, but we are a network of economic developers. So if there's ever a resource that we can provide at KAED to help you in BR&E efforts or any efforts, we're happy to do that. As we're rolling out a lot of content on BR&E right now, we have some scripts or we have some questions that we can make available to our members, and then we also have great professionals like Brittaney, and we're all just a phone call away. So it's been really a great learning opportunity for me, and I think for a lot of our members to see what you all are doing, especially around BR&E, and how visible that you are with it. I mean, I watch your videos that you're always putting out, so just really commend you and thank you for the good work there. And we'll keep rolling on BR&E. You'll see more from us on that. But you mentioned attraction.
Well, real quick, I want to ask you a question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how did the BR&E Summit go? I know Elizabeth and Cindy on our team both took part in that, but it looked like there was you had a good turnout. So how did that go? I know there's another one coming up, but can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, thanks for that too, because I think it really exceeded probably our expectations. So we've launched this BR&E program. It's a core component of our professional certification program. So, and there's a cost associated with that, and there's a track that you need to follow. But because of the timing that we're in, our foundation decided we need to make this course a free offering. And not only that, we need to probably expand it beyond our KAED membership. So we made it available for free to all of our members. We made it available for free to chamber execs, to Main Street people, to extension office folks, to business leaders, SBDC people. So we really felt good because, again, this is an attempt to make sure that every pocket of Kentucky has someone responsible for BR&E. So we rolled out session number 1, I guess almost 2 weeks ago, and we had about 100 people there. So part 2 and part 3, part 2 begins next week, part 3 begins the week after that. Those will really be kind of constructive workshops to help you identify how to put a BR&E program together in your organization. So we're really excited about those. Primarily, the point is we need to get this content in people's hands. Now, the second benefit of that is these 100 people, assuming that they sit through all 6 hours of content, now all of a sudden they've got one core component already knocked out of the way of your professional certification program, and you've done it for free. So right. I think it really went well, and we owe a big thank you to the University of Kentucky, who happened to lead that session, particularly Cedric and Allison Davis that everyone knows, and also to Murray State on your side of the state for being really great partners for our education program. So we're really happy with how BR&E went. Now the next step is to make sure that we have everyone from part 1 captured for part 2 and 3, and that we identify here's where the professionals are all across the state to guarantee that we've got pretty good coverage on BR&E. So we were happy with it. So I think, next step, we'll probably work on an innovation, entrepreneurial type session that hopefully you'll see pretty soon. So we were excited about it. You can find it online if you'd like to register. But you mentioned the business attraction, and that's part of what we do also. And you mentioned Kentucky United, which is our marketing initiative that we execute in partnership with the Cabinet for Economic Development. And you and I both have only been part of that program for a short amount of time. I'd like to welcome our third guest, our lawn crew outside the office here. So if you see them, but you and I, in a short amount of time, have been, along with other partners, all across the country, talking about the benefits, the opportunities and advantages that exist in Kentucky and why it makes sense to do business with the Commonwealth. So can you talk a little bit about Kentucky United and why it's meaningful for your organization and community?
Sure. So Obviously, as I'd mentioned before, marketing efforts and telling our story is very important. And I think a consistent message. So starting with at the state level and then filtering down to the community level is very important, that we all have a consistent message. And I'm all about collaboration. I've always been about collaboration. I say really no matter what we do as an organization, we're doing it with another partner, whether that be at the state level or at the local level with our chamber, our CVB, our Riverport, or our airport. But I feel like whenever we as a group go and have these conversations with these site consultants and be in front of them and tell the Kentucky story, that resonates, that we're all working together. And I'll mention that when I was meeting with some site consultants on my own right at the beginning of March, before we couldn't travel any longer, I'd shared a little bit about our region, not just Owensboro, Davis County, but our entire region, and they were very surprised because they really feel this certain site consultant, but they were kind of giving us rave reviews because they feel that it is very important to market your region and market your state as a whole. And at the end of the day, we are competitors, county to county, we're competitors and we compete. But if a project were to go to the neighboring Hancock County or Ohio County or Henderson County here in Western Kentucky, that's better than another state. And so, to your point, for me being new to Kentucky, I think those Kentucky United trips were beneficial in marketing and selling Owensboro and selling the state as a whole, but also networking with my fellow colleagues. I mean, especially during all of these last couple months, and we have no playbook for what we've been going through. I've talked to several of my colleagues multiple times, what are you doing? What are you working on in your communities? And, really learning from each other and sharing with each other. And so I think Kentucky United serves multiple purposes.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that, and I know that for you, Matt, and your team, when you have one, it is a lot of work. Scheduling those meetings with site consultants and just the logistics of all of it. And so I do appreciate that, and I know how much work it is, but I do feel like it's beneficial, and obviously continuing to tell the Kentucky story and having that consistent message.
Yeah, I think it is a lot of work, because there's a lot of planning. We'll usually do a larger luncheon. There's a lot of logistics and stuff to figure out around that. And there's a lot of just making consistent contact with these consultants to figure out their schedule, figure out if we can get them to the luncheon, figure out if they'll let us come into their office. But what I'm being told more from consultants is, we're really careful about, here's the data we're going to present, here's the message that we're going to deliver, and we go through great pains to make sure that that's perfect. But what we're being told is, look, Matt, this is good. We've learned some new things about Kentucky, but let me tell you, everything you just told me, I can get on my cell phone. So what we have shifted is to telling consultants and telling business leaders, here's what's special about Kentucky. Here's what's different. Here's what you need to know about. And we're singing that Kentucky message kind of collaboratively. And I think that's been really powerful. And we've heard some feedback from consultants that Kentucky does this in a good way. So I mean, we're really proud of what we do at Kentucky United. And I think about you and think about Owensboro specifically, and what an amazing story that you have to tell. I mean, you have Owensboro, it has it all. And I'll get in trouble for saying this, but you've got the bourbon, you've got the barbecue, you've got the bluegrass music, you've got the quality of life. You really have just a really great story to tell. You've got the workforce and the sites, and you've got one of the best riverfronts that probably exists. I know you've got, as a dad of two, you've got one of the best probably the best playground in the nation. So I really just love Owensboro, and I'm so proud that you're there. But I say all that because I wonder, what's your Owensboro specific pitch look like when you're going out to consultants or business leaders?
Sure, and real quick too, I'll say, on those Kentucky United trips, to your point, site consultants know about Kentucky, and they know very high level your bullet points. But another part of being in front of those site consultants is building those relationships, and that's very important. Just to continue building relationships. That's what we do. That's what we do in this economic development profession. It's all about relationship building, and I think honestly that's what's been really hard over the last couple months. Is I love being social and I love being around people. And so it has, the first couple weeks were good, but then it has been a little bit challenging for me lately, just because I do miss that social interaction that I was so used to. So I just wanted to add that, but no, I have a couple real short kind of an elevator pitch here that if that's okay, I'll share with you, and then if you have any questions pertaining to that, then we can definitely talk about that a little bit more. But so Owensboro is your opportunity. Located on the Ohio River in Northwest Kentucky, the Owensboro-Davis County region is home to a diverse industry base: healthcare, automotive, paper, aluminum, agriculture, utility, and more. The Owensboro MSA is fortunate to have the best riverfront and industrial properties in the state. Our partnerships with surrounding communities north and south of the Ohio River have allowed for capitalization on strengths of our region. Our region is definitely not divided by a river, in my opinion. Owensboro's regional labor market area boasts a well-educated, diverse workforce of approximately 400,000 plus. The region is accessible by road, river, and rail. 3 interstates, I-165, I-64, and the Audubon Parkway future I-69 spur. 340-acre river port is the largest and most profitable public port in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. The Owensboro-Davis County Airport has both an 8,000 and 5,000 foot runway, which are both incredible assets to this community. Owensboro is a dynamic community that strives for diversity and believes education is key to a better economy. The community has put into place initiatives to help develop and grow our workforce to meet the demands of businesses and industry. Owensboro is definitely your opportunity. So that's really what we share on a very high level. But, I think you had mentioned quality of life, assets that we have in this community, as well as, higher education. We have 4 colleges and universities, and then, just our region as a whole working together as a region is very important, and really working to highlight the assets of our neighboring counties and how we can each benefit each other.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so much in a community like Owensboro to include in an elevator pitch like that. How loud is our special guest here?
It's not that loud, and I can't see them, so okay. Your window is in the picture.
Well, maybe we'll show the audience how great our lawn looks outside my window after this. But I just appreciate hearing your elevator pitch. And Owensboro is an important community to me. I've spent a lot of time in my previous life when I was with the Kentucky Gas Association. I was in particularly Owensboro a lot. So I kind of claim it as home. And because I'm so well qualified with the experience of Owensboro, I know that you've left one very important piece out of your elevator pitch. And that's the Briar Patch Restaurant. So if anyone is familiar with the, I'm joking, of course, but if anyone is familiar with the Briar Patch Restaurant in downtown Owensboro, I encourage you to go. There's a wall of plaques, and on it somewhere you will see Matt Tackett, top eater in Owensboro. For about 10 years ago, I went there. Oh, there we are. There we are.
I saved it for you.
That was one of the greatest days of my life. But no, that was probably 10 years ago. And every time I go back to the Briar Patch trying to find my name, and they've renovated, so I can't find it. But that's there's so much good food.
Hey, what did you have to eat?
I can't remember. So if you hit a certain threshold of ounces, they'll put you on the wall. So I guess you have to do the salad bar and all of that stuff. But I can't remember. It was too much, more than I can do now. But I was young and eager back then. But before we close on Owensboro, I just want to say what a great place that it is to visit. If those that are listening to this haven't been to Owensboro, it's a really cool place to go. My wife and I will go down on weekends, especially in the summer when the concert series starts. And when does the Friday at 5 start?
They just canceled it for this year.
Did they? Well, and we understand that. So, looking to next year, it's just a really good time to go to Owensboro, with or without the Friday at 5. But what a great community, and I know the leadership that you've provided recently through the COVID situation. So, can you talk about how the community has kind of came together as one to address some challenges and issues that the community may have, and that your business, or that people may have, and your business community may have?
Sure. So, of course, everything is still very fluid, but we are in all the leadership is in constant contact with each other. Something that we had done early on, and Elizabeth had created a great survey that surveyed our existing businesses and surveyed their impact, so we could kind of see early on what that baseline would be, and would have something to compare over time. So from that, I'll share just a couple initiatives. And if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out and contact me, and I'll be more than happy to talk about it more in depth. Or Elizabeth can too as well. But we had asked our workforce. We have several essential businesses, and I mentioned earlier our diverse industry base, which I think is very important in times like this. And we will come out of this even stronger than before. And is 10 employees or less, and very appreciative of their leadership and creating that fund. And while there still be challenges with small businesses and large businesses alike, something I wanted to share with you is we had asked, what business supports would you most think is beneficial in this global challenge? And the two that scored the highest were employee resources, and then also distribution of other employer best practices. And so Elizabeth came up with this idea. She's created a forum on the back page of our website, and so you have to have a username and password, and we monitor this. But basically, it's a message board, because early on we were receiving lots of questions, as I'm sure everyone was. Just simple questions of, if your workforce is continuing to work, are you feeding them lunch? And where are you receiving your PPE from? And obviously Elizabeth can push that out, and emails can go back and forth. But we created as I guess an arm of the BizBuzz that I had mentioned before, that plant manager roundtable. Now all of our plant managers will have the opportunity and to be a part of this message board forum, and talk to each other, not just during this, but in the future as well. So we have done that. Really excited to launch that. And I know, Matt, Elizabeth would like to talk to you a little bit more about that, about some other ideas that she has for you as well. And really excited to have her thinking creatively on my team and strategically. And you had mentioned marketing efforts before. Sydney Riney on our team has really become very good at videos, and so she has still been doing some small business videos. We do a quarterly video with our existing employer, featuring them every quarter, and then she has done some resident spotlight. So she's still been doing all of that, as well as pushing resources out on our website, and we're redirecting our community to the Chamber's website as well, and partnering with them on several different items. One more thing that we are doing is we have partnered, we're entering into an agreement with Jobs EQ. Are you familiar with Chimera, Jobs EQ at all?
Yeah.
So we subscribe to Jobs EQ. We think they put out great data and information, and we use that quite a bit. So we are putting a job search platform on our website that the Chamber will push out for us, and as well, and help push that out to their members. But really just a central location that is very easy to be able to search job postings. But then also for us, we'll be able to receive those analytics on the back end that show what is being searched for. you know, if they are searching for a certain company or a certain position, even where they're searching from. So it will show us how many are searching, you know, from Davis County, how many are searching from California, for example. And so it will give us a lot of data and analytics that we don't have, and kind of see what jobs people are looking for, and what's in demand. So we're really excited about that. That's real-time intelligence updated, so it updates every night. Those job postings do. So we're really excited about that opportunity, and launching that job posting board as well. So those are a couple things that we're working on. And like I mentioned, everything is pretty fluid. Elizabeth is hosting a Biz Buzz virtually next Thursday. So that will be our Q2 Biz Buzz. And Mile Wide Beer Company, we're really excited to have them opening a location in the near future here in Owensboro, but right now they're currently doing deliveries. So, you know, since we can't gather and have a Biz Buzz, you know, in a social setting, we're gonna have Mile Wide Beer Company delivered to those who want it.
Oh, wow.
Right before. So, but we're gonna talk about, you know, just challenges. We have surveyed our members, like I said, and we'll talk about a few of those challenges, and let those companies talk with each other about you know, how they're coming out of this, how they're recovering from this, and then, you know, kind of looking towards the future, what they're seeing. So so those are a few things, and like I said, feel free to reach out, anyone, if you have any questions or have any thoughts for us as well. We love sharing new ideas, and hearing what everyone else is doing too. So
Yeah, that's very impressive to hear the innovation and the creativity through which you're tackling these challenges. So yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity for people that are watching this, or our members, to make a reach out to you, because there's a lot of best practices going on there from your organization. Sure. So thank you for the good and innovative work. So you can find Brittaney on her website, obviously, or you can go to the directory on kaedonline.org, and while you're there, you can fill out a membership application too, if you'd like. So I think we're running a little low on time, but I got a couple other things. One fun item. You know, one of the major pieces of disruption throughout COVID that's hit us is the postponement of the collaboration conference. So this year, it's our spring event. We do 2 major gatherings a year. This year, we were set to conclude the collaboration conference in Owensboro last week. So it's just going to be such an incredible event. And I think I'll say last year, around this time in 2019, Somerset hosted us. And they came up and they did a really incredible job. It was the biggest spring conference in the history of KAED. Now, before we kind of hit the pause button in early March, the Owensboro Collaboration Conference was trending 30% ahead of our friends in Somerset in terms of registration and sponsorship received, which is a cool thing for us. So you facilitated such a really collaborative, great event in Owensboro, and I don't really have a question there, but how cool was that event going to be?
Yeah, so we're disappointed, of course, because we were really excited to host everyone, and I know, you know, when I came on board in late December, our director of our CBB had kind of put in my ear that they had been or had conversations with you in the past about, you know, hosting this conference. So I know I was a little bit persistent. And so I was really excited that the board chose Owensboro, and we were really excited to host everyone. And of course, I'm a little bit competitive. And so I'd heard so much that Somerset had, you know, that record attendance. And so I just wanted to blow that out of the water, of course. But we're hoping that, you know, we do possibly get the opportunity to host in the future. And most importantly, we had a lot of really great snacks lined up for the conference, because we know that that's really important, and that's really important to us as well. And so we were really wanting to show everyone a taste of Owensboro, and let everyone participate in our axe throwing at Escape today, yes, in Owensboro. And we were so excited and a little bit bummed, but we understand, and we hope that we get the opportunity in the future.
Us too. The planning committee on that goes through our foundation, our 501c3, and the content that they had put together was incredible. And the consultants that were coming in, and we're still planning on delivering some sort of event when we can. So I'll keep the agenda kind of close to the chest, but it was an incredible event, and I think we were certainly trending towards not only the largest spring conference that we've done, but probably the largest event that KAED had hosted. So we'll look forward to the opportunity to come to Owensboro when we can, and certainly to have a taste of Owensboro, because I'll tell you one thing. Out of all the great content and some of the changes that we've done to our conferences over the last couple of years, we've got really positive results on our survey, just incredibly positive, except for the food. We get dinged. That's the biggest negative out of everything we do. We get dinged on surveys for the food, and I don't even ask a question about the food. Somehow people find a way to get it in, except for Somerset. Now they did it in a really cool way where we got to see what all good eats there were in that community, but food's an issue. We know it. We'll take care of it, and we were going to in Owensboro. So,
hey, the economic development profession, the way to their heart, good food and good bourbon, right?
Yeah, no doubt. So we're good on the bourbon, but I guess we have some work to do on the food, especially breakfast. So, but that's the point well taken, and Brittaney ran with that challenge, certainly. So I have one last question, and full disclosure, Brittaney and I talked about some of the things we were going to talk about, and I said, I've got a last one, I'm not going to tell you what it is. But before, is there anything else that we need to know or you'd like to share?
Yeah, so real quick, I have a challenge for all of obviously all of Matt's interviewees on this netcast, and then also just for the economic development professionals out there. COVID-19 or the economic recovery of it. And so I have donated to our community foundation, United Way, have set up a relief fund and to aid those that are affected by the COVID-19 effects. And so I encourage you to donate. And if you will go onto our Facebook page or Instagram or tag us and let us know that you have donated by next Friday, May 29th, we will draw a random person that has donated. And if you've donated prior to today, then that's fine. Go ahead and check out our website or our Instagram or our Facebook, and we will send you a special gift from the Owensboro team. So challenge you to do that. And I think it's always important to give back if you can.
So yeah, what a cool thing. I think we had a bit of a glitch there, but Brittaney has made a donation to a worthy charitable organization in her community. And so you've challenged all of our interviewees to make a donation as they deem appropriate somewhere, and to let you know on your social media by Friday of next week to be eligible to win a prize. Is that right?
That's correct. And then I said interviewees or any economic development professionals that are, obviously in our network or are watching this. I'm going to open it up to everyone.
Oh, how great is that? Okay, well, thank you for that. So the Tackett family will make a donation and let you know, and just thank you for that. This is a lot about your heart, and that's a cool challenge. So we'll certainly spread that as much as we can. So, one last question. I'm planning on trying to ask something silly or a doozy for my last ones, but you have come to Kentucky by way of Indiana, and I guess you're from Indiana, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Brittaney Johnson, are you an Indiana Hoosier fan?
So, you know, I like Indiana basketball. Obviously, the Bobby Knight days. I remember those days. I wouldn't say that I'm a diehard IU fan, but I will say that my husband is a diehard UK fan.
Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. Well, we can work with that. So that's good. But we know how home is where the heart is. So we won't fault you too bad if you do want to cheer for Indiana every now and then.
Hey,
So
I'm wearing my Kentucky blue today, though.
there we go. There we go. Well, this has been fun. So this is number one. We'll hope to keep on rocking with these, and we want to make these fun. And we hope that our audience will kind of bear with us through some glitches. That'll just add to the character of this. But we're gonna have a good time with these. So Brittaney, thank you for joining us. You're guest number one, and no one will ever take that from you. And we just appreciate your time here today.
Hey, thank you for all you do, and thank you for all the information that you continue to push out. I really appreciate it, and thank you for doing these. These are fun. I'm so glad that we did not get interrupted by a 7 and a 5-year-old asking for treats or anything else that they typically ask for when I'm on these Zoom calls. But yeah, thank you for all you do, and excited to be number one, and obviously excited to see what the rest of the year holds and the future holds, and continuing to support KAED.
Well, thank you so much. And just as we're closing, our lawn officials out there are done. So what timing for number one couldn't be any better.